Hi, Virgo Sun and Rising. Welcome to your September 2023 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So in September, we're anticipating eclipse season in October, and therefore there could be developments happening even a month earlier. So the month before and some time afterwards, we would call the extent of the eclipse's main effects. But we also have resolution of some things with two personal planets going direct, one of them, Mercury, being your ruler. And speaking of planets going direct, on the 3rd of the month, Venus goes direct at 12 degrees of Leo. And this for you is the 12th house. So everything that took place during this Venus retrograde may have been very hidden to the public. And, with retrogrades, it is an internal process to begin with, but then you add to it the house that it occurred in. So I'm always curious with Venus retrogrades in the 12th, if you hear back from someone that you were in a relationship with or that you had feelings for, is it a situation where it's somehow clandestine? And also, actually, what I was really thinking too was, is a situation where there is this feeling that it is a karmic relationship and that you are sorting out karma, that it's not just whatever happened in the past, in this lifetime in the past. So anyway, Venus goes direct on the 3rd, and the very next day, Jupiter goes retrograde at 15 degrees of Taurus. And this is a fellow Earth sign. It forms a trine. Jupiter, while it is transiting through Taurus. So that is the most cooperative angle in astrology. So that even when Jupiter is retrograde, you may find blessings that are bestowed upon you that somehow you couldn't take advantage of when Jupiter first went to that particular degree. So Taurus for Virgo is the 9th house. And this is the house that Jupiter rules, and it's considered the luckiest house in astrology. So there could be some just general blessings, but it could be a travel related, some kind of offer that you had. Maybe you were going to study abroad, but you couldn't do so for some reason, and now you're going to be able to do so. So don't look at Jupiter retrograde as necessarily something that will create major upheaval. You could see that it has some good sides to it too. If you're listening for your sun in Virgo and you have Sagittarius rising, then your ruler is Jupiter. So that may even have more of an influence at this time. In the 9th house, it's funny because this is Jupiter's domain in the sign of Sagittarius. So it's already philosophical, and this is just going to make you more so. So when Jupiter is direct in the 9th, because it has an expansive effect, a person may feel this desire to go, if they have a bachelor's degree, they may want to get a master's, a doctorate. They're trying to expand. They're looking to have more. But when Jupiter is direct or retrograding, the person may be questioning this sort of expansive desire, and bringing the philosophical into it, because that's what retrogrades do. We go within, and that's the whole point of what happens when we go within. We're looking at it through the lens of whatever our philosophy of life is, what we think the meaning of life is. And when it comes to higher education, which is part of the ninth house, it's something that a lot of times society pushes on us, but it may not be relevant for what it is that we want to do. And I would say in a lot of those cases, if you find yourself in that sort of dichotomy, it could be because you have like parental pressure or societal pressure. If you're, maybe you're in a certain profession where other people, coworkers, are getting advanced degrees. But it could be in another area. Maybe you're in a religion, because the ninth house to me is organized religion, and but it's also just like God, the subject of God itself. And maybe you are finding that you are more open-ended these days. You're not into like the strict dogma. You don't think that it really tells the whole story, and maybe like yoga, metaphysical pursuits, meta meaning beyond the physical. And it's more open-ended. The eighth house is one of those houses that really delves into things like that. The occult and even things like astrology and the tarot can be spiritual, part of a spiritual path. It's not just about fortune telling. It can just be symbolic of the different things we go through in life and looking at it from a philosophical perspective. So those kinds of things may be front and center in your life in some way. So, yeah, Jupiter's going to remain in retrograde until the end of the year, until the 30th of the month. I'm trying to find my document again. Okay, on the 14th, we have a new moon at 21 degrees, 59 minutes of Virgo, so let's say 22 minutes. And this is in your first house of the self. So this is your new moon, Virgo. And by the way, happy birthday to those people who are born under the sign of Virgo, because most of you will be having your solar return this month. But this is a new moon, and that's when the sun and the moon are both in the same sign in the same degree. So got a lot of that concentrated Virgo energy. And the next day, Mercury goes direct at 8 degrees of Virgo. So you have been, with Mercury retrograding your sign, you have been thinking about yourself in terms of like maybe how you look, how you're putting yourself out there, how other people are reacting to you. And, it's so interesting that this Mercury retrograde goes direct the day after the new moon in the same sign. So for Virgo people, this is really about new beginnings, because you can have a new experience, but if you're not really reflecting upon it, then to me, it's not really engaging in it at the deepest level. So I think this is way cool for you. And of course, with Virgo, you have to be gentle with yourself because you tend to be a perfectionist, and you might pick apart yourself. So during this Mercury retrograde, I hope that you have been, and for those that are listening, when I'm posting this, which is in the middle of August, you have time to like stop being hard on yourself. And maybe that's part of what you're going to review, is like, why do I always have such a overly critical attitude towards myself? Was this given to me? Is this some kind of old tape that I'm continuing to play? Because You know, Virgo is very discriminating, meaning, you're able to see the crap from the treasure in life. You're micro focused, on the details. A lot of people are not. So you're a very valuable analytical type of person. But it's like the magnifying glass can get, when you hold a magnifying glass over something for too long, it can burst into flames, right? So, well, I mean, I think you need the sun to make that happen, but you know what I mean. So just maybe that'll be part of it, because if you are very critical of yourself, you're going to be very inhibited. And if you're very inhibited and self-conscious, so you're going to have a hard time, trying new things, going after what you want, because you're afraid of other people's, reaction to you, or whether you're going to make a fool out of yourself, whatever. But hopefully you're on the right track and you're making changes that are really supportive of you, honoring you. On the 23rd, the sun goes into Libra. So that is the second house, and that means that the focus is on money and your possessions. I always say that I think Virgo people are minimalists, and I don't know if, in other words, I don't think Virgo people like to have a lot of stuff. I could be wrong about some of them, because obviously not every sign is going to be exactly the same. Some of you who have personal planets in Libra or Leo that may really influence that, you might be more interested in having nice things and things like that. Virgo is an earth sign, so you do have that connection to matter, including material things. So I don't know, but I just think that you're more like into efficiency and productivity. So when you're going to have a solar eclipse in the second house, actually, in October. So that could expand your finances. And I think that it'll be great for you to think of new ways of earning money. And I'm sure that a lot of Virgo people could be ingenious at this. So this is an earth house. This is Taurus's domain. So just getting more into that practical part of yourself that is really, that you have a strong affinity for. And then on the 29th, we have a full moon at 6 degrees of Aries. And so this is going to fall in your 8th house. And the 8th house is a very deep place. You had a solar eclipse here back in April, and this is where the eclipses are going to be happening. This is not an eclipse, it's a regular full moon. But the point is that it's in the 8th house, and that can bring out secrets of some sorts. This can be a time of finding out maybe about some kind of money that you are connected to, either through a spouse or like if you are in a serious relationship, your spouse's finances may come to light, an inheritance may come to light. There could be the end of some kind of matter, involving a will or something of that nature. But even the shadow self can be explored, because that's the 8th house as well. And because you have Jupiter in the 9th house, that these two houses I associate with spirituality. And so that can be helpful as well, because you're digging deep on both levels. And really, Virgo being an earth sign, you may not like to be so into your emotions. You may feel that they're irrational and you want to be very analytical about things. Why should I get all uh, emotional about something, that isn't necessarily um, that important in the big picture, the grand scheme of things. But this is this goes way back. The shadow can be the trauma that sometimes people bury and the emotions that go along with them. So see what comes up. This is a purging effect, and it can make you lighter emotionally, and things like that. So it is very intense, but sometimes that's part of what we have to, experience as part of the fabric of our human existence. That's what I have for you, Virgo. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a private reading, I am offering package deals. The reason that I'm doing this is because I used to have shorter readings that I did not feel were adequate enough for all the stuff that you have to get into. So in order to, I have separate readings for these things. Obviously people, don't always want the same things, but in case you want your chart analyzed by somebody with a moon in Virgo, by the way, and in addition, you want to see what is the preview for 2024, because I'll take it out for the next 12 months. I have a discounted price for buying those 2 readings, full-length readings. It's called my deep dive reading, and I also have one with the tarot and the chart analysis. But I've recently added a 3rd reading. I've renamed, I've taken this from another one of my readings called The Whole Enchilada, and it combines the 2 astrological readings I just mentioned, plus a full-length tarot reading for a special price for people who prefer to have all of that together. So please check out my link below. I'm at RenaMoonAstrology.com. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.